All right. Oh, it says live. Look at that. This is like professional.
We're official.
We're official.
Well, cheers, bud.
Cheers. What do you got?
Well, I got fancy beer today.
So I'm on the Vominos.
Oh, nice.
It's like lime and salt by default. It's like the most refreshing beer. So the funny thing is we went tubing, right, last weekend because we had some friends from out of town. And you physically go in a tube and it's like it's the Guadalupe. And you go tubing down this thing and you can actually bring a tube for your cooler. So you're drinking, tubing, cruising. It's like the best experience ever. And I just got onto this Vominos. I found it the other day. I kid you not, I do not know how it happened. There was a Vominos tube with no one on it floating down, and my friend grabbed it.
Nice.
It was meant to be. So it was like the score of the weekend. It's like the small things in life that make you so happy, right? So
what are they? Are they like a beer cooler deal?
It's a proper beer, but it's just like, I think, you got your Bud Light limes. There's the Modelo's that's got the lime and the salt in it already. But this one I like.
Nice.
Yeah. So we got some people in here already.
Yeah. I'm looking at a small screen here. Excited for this one. This is pretty cool. So, hey, for everyone listening, guys, we're full-on green virgins to this deal, so you'll have to bear with us as we muck our way through it, but we're going to try our best.
Yeah, we got to try and keep it PG-13 as well, because this isn't our podcast, unfortunately.
We're going to have to keep it clean. Oh, Benny's here. Salut, he says.
Yes. What's up, Benny? Massachusetts. Very nice. Cobra's LX GTs. What's going on, man?
Yeah. Are you guys hot there, Chris?
Oh, man, it's I'll be taking my hat off and going like this like a million times.
Dude, the
AC, the HVAC, even if I turn it on, it's just going to be a bunch of fan noise, when we're trying to record. So I just got the bay doors open. I'm just letting nature take its course. Mr. Kennedy.
Uh-oh. Now there's trouble. Okay, I'm going to click my fan on just one hit to see if I can get a little bit of a draft going in here because I'm dying.
No, you're not allowed. You gotta sweat with the rest of us.
I hope it doesn't.
Yes, Eric, it is 1,000,000 degrees in Texas. I swear, it's like I didn't leave Dubai. We got cold beers.
I'm going to give everybody a little conversion as to what Canada's doing. I'll tell you right now, the igloos are melting. It's that bloody hot. Weather.
Well, this is cool.
This is. Yeah, better than just two dickheads talking to each other on a podcast, eh? Okay, we're 106, 107 right now.
That's impressive.
Right?
How much is that with humidity? Humidex?
We get zero humidity here, like nothing. It's Arizona style.
Yeah. Yes, the lazy welder. Go grab your beer. We'll wait. We'll start doing some stuff at the 5-minute mark.
Yeah, I should start teasing everybody a little bit.
Look at that. Did we get a cool plate on that?
Yeah, well, kind of. Now it's just a standard plate, but NV6 76V.
So you envy the car. That starts things off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can dig it. For a random draw, that's not too bad.
This is it. I know I was going to... I always tried to get things with 6s and 9s in them whenever I was
Don't we all? I'm sure everybody in the comments is going to be like, yeah, that's my banking password.
Right.
Oh, man.
But no, we did not bad on the plate, I think. And now I do have to forewarn. This shop, you'll be able to appreciate this, being used as pretty much a full-blown body shop at the moment. So we have a fine layer of flour everywhere.
Nobody's going to see that. Everybody's looking at the car.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, I think we can do cool stuff here. Like, I think I can go in here. Oh, I get it. There, I can like show some comments and stuff. Guys, we're like brand new to this, so we're going to get it all figured out.
Yeah, bear with us.
Gonna grab my cold beer. Look at that.
What's a Bud Light Platinum? I haven't heard of those.
I think they're low-cal.
Oh.
There's a Corona Premium up here, which is like a Platinum, I think. How much for the center line? So that's going to be a good topic for this video because everybody has been asking about these center lines since I said I don't want them. And maybe we can start things off with the center lines, Gary. So they're 16-inch. I think that's going to knock off 80% of anybody who's interested in them because, everybody wants to get a 17-inch center line.
They're not very wide either.
Like, are they 7s?
I'll eyeball them here with a tape. I think like 7, 8 at most. 7, I'm thinking though.
Because you got a 225/50 on there, right?
Yeah, and it's sitting square.
You should move your camera over just a touch. Like, you're really making this hard for me. So guys, I have not seen this car in person. Like I said in my kind of intro video to this, Gary like literally sent me his video at like the last minute of the last hour when I was trying to edit that up. So this is going to be like, show me this, show me that on this video. And for whatever you guys want to see, because remember, this car has 250,000 miles on it, which I'm super excited. When is that video going to come out, Gary?
So, yeah, the odometer, not really reveal, but like just some justification for the car, the way it shows, and how people will guess the odometer. That's coming out next Tuesday. So I'm a little scrambled here, guys. Insider info. I'm going out to like the far west coast where I got to take a ferry and go over to an island, see my brother this weekend. So I'm trying to get like everything tightened up before I hit the road, which means I'm trying to tee my video up for next week now. But anyway, this one, I don't know. I've had this wrong in the past. I think this one's going to be a banger. But because as I was editing it, like tears were coming out of my eyes the whole time. Like, it's classic. I'll give you a little bit of a hint. And we'll obviously do a big tour here and stuff, guys. You can see the car for yourselves. And we do got to talk about Foxtoberfest, so people will get to see it there too. But anyway, the highest guess that I had for mileage on this thing, and the guys took it serious. Like, probably each fella took a good 10 minutes. I'm talking strut towers, like hands and knees. These guys took it serious. And the highest guess that I had was 55,000 miles.
Miles or kilometers?
Well, 110,000 K.
Right. So you do have a specific question here, Gare, that I think you're going to answer now pretty quickly, is because they want to know when they're going to see you in the U.S.
Right. All right, guys. So yeah, the cat's out of the bag. The Dech, the 87 Dech, which we got lots of stories to tell you tonight. I'm pointing this sucker south. So Chris and I are still working out the details. I might pick him up in Seattle, and we're pointing her down to Texas and doing it's going to be like one of these Chip Foose Discovery Channel, like we're trying to make it to the deadline, and then we're heading to Foxtoberfest for like Tuesday, Wednesday.
And you know what we'll probably do is, once we actually iron out this crazy journey, because we are going to spend a couple days in Texas before we go to Foxtoberfest. It's not just going to be a straight through. So if there's anybody along the way or the route, we're more than happy to do some stops, especially for any like more of the West Coast guys that aren't going to make it all the way over to Foxtoberfest. We like it. We're going to call this the Miller Lite 3000 because we can't afford the gumball. So for anybody out there, we're more than happy to catch up and do that. And, everybody can see the car in person. And then I think from Texas, for anybody, as we're making our way even further east, then, we could have somewhat of a little convoy going on for anybody that wants to hit up the show. So, lots of ideas out there. If you guys have any ideas, drop them in comments or anything else, email us, hit us up on social media. and happy to accommodate, because this happened quite quickly. And if you guys haven't seen the video that I did, kind of introduction to this car, it came to light to me a couple months ago, and then all of a sudden it was like, poor Sean was trying to get ready to leave the country real quick, and then it was just like, okay, Gary, I need you to get this car for me. Can you take care of all the details and everything else? So we haven't had much time to think of it, hence this video, because now Gary can actually kind of walk around and show his amazement, because he told me that that he could do his makeup in the side of this car. Like, it's so reflective and so shiny, that paint. So I'm excited.
Well, actually, another little insider info deal. So when I first got the car, we got everything settled. Chris is on a big boondoggle. He's doing a wine tour with his gal. And anyway, I called him, and he's like, send me some pictures. I got to see this bloody thing. So anyway, send him a couple of quarter angle shots, hood up shots. And then the paint on this thing is beyond belief, especially for a non-OEM paint job. So anyway, I crouch down and I go to give him the picture. I'm like, click, right? And so he reaches back out to me. He's like, dude, everybody that wants to see a picture of a paint job, I always give them the bird.
Oh, man. So we got one. Yeah, we'll check him out. Cobra LXGT is, I don't know what your real name is. A lot of people don't know what my real name is. That's fine. So I'll just call you CLG. Yeah, we can definitely check out your videos and everything. So look at this. Gary's already on his second beer. So that means Chris talk and keep everyone entertained. But yeah, I guess, how do we want to format this? We don't even have a format. So this is, again, our first time popping in live and trying to get this together. And we are actually just going to take the audio from this, and it's going to get posted up on next week's podcast. It is a long weekend in Canada this upcoming weekend, so Gary is extremely busy and won't be able to speak clearly. So you'll have to give us a pass. If you've watched this, you don't need to listen to the podcast. But if you haven't listened to last week's or this week's podcast, it was just released with Molly Celine. You guys need to check that out, because, speaking about Dech and the history there, it's funny because Dech and Celine were pretty much innovating at around the same time. And there was some collaboration there. So that's all stuff. I don't want to release all the information, about Dech, because I feel like I keep dropping little tidbits, and then some people watch this, some people watch that. So Dech documentary needs to happen.
Yeah. Hey, while we're on the podcast note, I don't want to try to bump the system or anything here, but I did want to throw it out to people because I don't know if enough folks kind of understand how this thing all works. So on the podcast, guys, if you're enjoying it and you're loving it, I'm pretty sure I speak for Chris too, please go in and give us a review, whatever kind of review you want. Essentially, it just helps us get it out to more people. Like I say, don't go on there and review it if you haven't heard it. Just review it if you like it, and give us whatever kind of rating you want. But we do have a handful of awesome reviews, which super grateful for. And we're just doing this for fun. Chris and I like yakking to each other, so we just record it once a week and put it up there. And yeah, but anyway, if you guys are liking it.
Molly didn't even listen to our podcast. She actually, this is how cool Molly is. She actually accepted to do this without even listening to anything that we've done before. So, right. Me and Gary were a little nervous at it, at the beginning, because it was sort of like, you haven't listened to one. This is like garage talk. We usually do it after hours. And she was pretty much like, shit, we should have scheduled this later. So, yeah, no, it was super cool. Tom, what's going on? Mr. War Admiral.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. So Tom and I have been texting here today. We may as well just let the cat out of the bag here, because I just texted him before we jumped on here. I said, Tommy, I'm so sorry, buddy. I'm scrambling to get the Dech on the hoist, and we're going live at 4. Anyway, Tom, out of the kindness of his own heart, has reached out to myself and ultimately I'm kind of translating this all to Chris, but he's like, hey, what do you guys think about me interviewing you guys on the pod? I'm like, wow, that'd be wicked. Let's do it. So Tommy, you're in. Whenever you want to do it, bud, you interview us. I don't know how deep you want to get. I'm an open book. So yeah. And on the pod, we can be a lot more colorful, let's just say.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just want to say, so what do we got? Sean Fairweather up in Canada. So he actually just bought a Dech kit off me, an authentic one. He's got a silver coupe. So he's been putting that on himself. So shout out to him.
Yeah, what's up, Sean? I talk to him all the time on the DMs. Great guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Efren, cheers. What else do we got? Like and share. Yes, absolutely.
Todd is still doing Bluetooth radios. John Doe GTA. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And Brem Bojo. Well, there you go. I'm glad that, the Dech name is getting out there because, it's something definitely south of the border you didn't hear of too much. I think the guys that were really into, especially like road course, because the thing, Dech weren't quarter mile cars. Like they're not drag strip cars like this. We're talking like SCCA and road course, right? So not everybody was into the suspension and handling and all those things, which Dech was ultimately involved in. And funny enough, in your video, Gary, I was laughing when Sean was like, most people don't even know how to say Dech. And, it's sort of like Celine. A lot of guys and gals say saline. I've been corrected and I've fixed my vocabulary on that. It is Celine, like SUH, not SA. I guess from the phonetic approach, but Dech, there's people call it, Dech or Dech, DECK. There's lots of different things. So, yes, absolutely, Tom. We'll be ready when you're ready. So, Dorset, watching the water pump videos now. Yeah, water pumps suck. But
I got a water pump video.
I think we all do. I think anybody who owns a Foxbody, they might not have a video, but they definitely have a vocabulary from doing the water pump.
And everybody's got war wounds to prove it. Okay, so let's. These kind folks have been probably patient enough with us yammering here. So, okay, for anyone just tuning in, behind me, I got this 1987 Dech, and now to give you a little bit of the backstory, if you haven't seen Chris's video or my video, which was ultimately the one kind of facilitating the deal. Chris being in Texas, me being up here, and the car was up here in Canada. So he and I teamed up and ultimately glued this thing together. Now, Chris has seen some photos of the car, but has not had like a video tour of it. And this is hand on heart, right, bud? Like you haven't.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And honestly, there's a number of people from Canada, and they've reached out on the video you posted.
Show the car.
Yeah. Like this Craigslist post that was posted for this car, like you just cruise right past it. The asking price was outrageous. The photos weren't the greatest. The documentation, or I think the story of the car, lacked because all you really saw was an 87 former GT with a body kit with $250,000 miles for, $30,000+. Like, put all of those things together in a headline and you're not going to look at that car. So needless to say, the car wasn't purchased for the ass. The car went through a thorough inspection from Gary. And it was one of those ones you just had to roll the dice and you had to look at it. It's probably like the equivalent of Lance from Foxbody FX when he found that Celine, the SSC car. That was just a random post that they had taken Google images and stuck those on the post. So the first thing you think, oh, that's a scam. So it's just one of those deals. Most of the time you waste your time. Gary, this car was 3 hours away from you?
Yeah.
Give or take. And that was another thing, Gary would have had to drive 3 hours. So it was one of those things we made. You really want to sell your car? You bring your car to us and we'll make the deal. And Gary did everything right down to a compression test. So, you know what? You should probably start showing the car a little bit, Gary, even if you move the camera around.
No, bear with me here, bud. I'm going to push this cam button. I'm hoping I can get the other side of my phone because I'm looking at my screen right now. So
Oh, gotcha.
let me just see how this all. Oh, no, that kills cam. Shit. Oh, I can't say that either. Okay.
Well, while you're figuring that out, you might be able to actually, when you go into the settings for video, I think you can select which camera. Hopefully.
Oh, here we go. Okay, this is going to work, folks. You're probably looking at a wall right now, but
Looks, yep, perfect.
ooh, we're uptown. Okay,
So,
a little behind the
see,
scenes.
Alan, the version of the rear spoiler. So that's actually the second version, which is the AFD2. The AFD1 actually looked like an SVO wing that had like the vertical bar right down the center.
I'll do the Vanna White while you're doing that.
Yeah. So to my knowledge, that wing actually, there was only one made. And then I don't know if it was too complex or Derek didn't like the wind tunnel results or who knows. So then the AFD2 was born, which is that one right there, which Gary, does that look like a factory GT third brake light that gets repurposed into that wing?
No, I don't think so, because I think it's more square. This is kind of rounded. Like it kind of curves like this. I don't know, though, to be honest with you.
Right. Well,
it does pull it off really nicely. Like it's a good looking wing.
Yeah, so this wing, it didn't last too long because you could imagine Dech built LX cars. So when you take that LX wing off the back, there's tons of holes under there that they would have had to fill and weld and paint. Now, luckily, this was a GT, so it was just pretty much take off the factory wing and probably put this one on. But there's not too many of those wings floating around. And the other interesting thing about this car, you know, even though this is an 87 and was built kind of after the fact, but the first numbered Dech cars started coming out in 88, which they actually used Celine skirts and a Celine wing. Dech did not have their body kit, which you see on this car, in terms of the rear wing, the rear skirt, and the side skirts. That didn't come out until 89. So that's kind of an interesting fact. The Dech number 5 car that I restored over the past couple of years, that actually originally had a Celine kit on it. Then it had gone back to Dech to get their actual body kit put on. So this car originally being a GT, and Gary, maybe it's worth showing the line of where the Dech kit meets the molding. Just look at that paint, like even through this webcam. So that Dech skirt right there would have got cut probably an inch or two below the skirt. So that's where the scoop was. And they would have cut that, you know, right below there to maintain the door molding. Same thing with the rear bumper cover and rear extension. Those would all be cut underneath. So the factory GT kit got butchered in this case, and in order to get those skirts on. But it looks like the installation is really nice.
Okay, we'll do a full interior tour here, guys, but check this out.
Oh, yeah.
Need a little more love, but
that's solid. Well, especially if the driver's door does the same.
Well, check this, like original pins, everything.
That's unreal.
And well, here,
stereo
okay,
too.
Watch the car. I'm going to grab the bottom of the door. Like, it's crazy, man, how tight this car is. Look at this seat. Original seats from 87, folks.
Yeah, especially, like, Sean wasn't the smallest dude. Maybe he was a little smaller when he was younger and put all those miles in back. Well, it's got good snap.
Eat your hearts out, Fox lovers.
Jeffrey Williams, first year of the Dech, first year numbered Dech's 88. There was a few floating around prototype things. So the problem with Dech is that there were very few numbered cars. And then there was a lot of after the fact, after purchase on the track, people would take their cars to Dech and get them outfitted afterwards. And those cars didn't ever get numbered except for this one that we're looking at right now, which is what makes this car's story so interesting and the car so unique. And Gary, maybe you can zoom in on the Dech plaque that's on the center console here.
Yep. Sorry if I'm shaky here, folks. I'm doing my best here, but
you're just nervous. It's okay.
Can you
so
see
there
that
is the plaque, and you know what I mean? Like I've seen.
Hold on, we got more.
Oh, you got the keychain one as well. Yep.
Yeah.
So the problem with these, as you guys could imagine, is a lot of people would keep the keychain one by default because they want a token or a memory of the car. And there's a lot of cars out there that were numbered that even the plaque was ripped off because the first owner probably kept the keychain. The second owner probably ripped the plaque off the center console. So some of these cars, it's really hard because Dech they don't have a database backup, unfortunately. That was a crashed hard drive back in the late 90s when things weren't that reliable.
So as far as war wounds are considered, we may as well point those out.
Oh, I can see
we do have a war wound here. Yeah.
So is that a crack or what happened? Because he said something about like they tried to fix it and made it worse.
Yeah, apparently it's been tended to once, but it almost does look like a crack. The only other kind of knock or war wound that I can find is around the driver's side quarter window here, like
are those moldings
here.
Painted?
No, they're that clean, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Like people are probably looking at my face like, wow, as I'm like,
I know, like look at me in this thing. You can see all of me. It's crazy, dude. But yeah, there's like kind of a little bit of bubbling around this trim piece.
Yeah.
Ever so slightly.
Wow.
I will say I've had it out in the sun and it's a black car, right? So, one hand wash and this thing's going to somewhat show some sunshine swirls. But as far as a car that hasn't seen a proper buff in I don't know how many years, this thing is just bonkers. Like, look you count the hair on my legs in this thing. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, that's real clean. Tom, this is the first one with this wing. All the other ones have had the stack wing. So that's a first. And you know what? That's not even that bad, Gare, for the fact of 250,000 miles.
Oh my God, dude.
And so this one does have the Momo Monte Carlo steering wheel. That was a Dech option. And that shifter. Oh, yeah.
Got the stepped out stereo. It's got a proper stereo in this thing.
Have you turned the tunes on?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this thing rocks.
Nice.
210s. I'll pop the hatch here and we'll show you. You got to see the Alpine. It's got the push button hatch popper. Okay, folks. Yeah, I can't really zoom here, guys. So let's just see how well this works.
Oh, I see it. 433,689.
That's kilometers. So like 271,000 miles on this car.
That is the one nice thing that Canada did by having that extra digit. Now, mind you, with the conversion, kilometers rack up a lot faster than miles. So it kind of just makes sense. But I just noticed something. This is a weird option car. So power windows, power locks, but manual mirrors.
Manual mirrors. Yeah, no power mirrors. Sunroof.
Crazy. I wonder if it had cruise initially. And no AC, correct?
No AC. I don't think it had cruise because I had a flasher issue with it the other day. But
it had tilt. It has tilt.
Has tilt. Yep. So, man, I know it's absolutely mind-boggling how clean this car is.
How about this? Let's see the wear on the clutch pedal.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Sorry, I got to put you in there a little sideways, but.
Oh, yeah. I think that looks pretty good for 250,000 miles.
Dude, that doesn't look like 250,000 miles at all. Hey, and it's got the Mean Eyes upgrade. Properly done. Like, it's got a relay in behind here.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
What is this? I just
On accessory to boot, not straight 12 volts either.
Blue headlights. Where?
Okay, we better. I got the hood popped for everybody, and then I'm gonna raise her up on the hoist too. So stick around for that, guys. We'll go underneath it.
Cherry, repair the wounds, leave it original. Sorry, I'm just going through. There's actually a lot of comments in here.
Sorry, folks. We can get to those as need be. Original hood cloth, everything, man. Like,
actually, yeah, somebody just actually corrected me. So there was that is an AFD 1 wing, then the AFD 2 is the stack, and then the AFD 3 that's the SVO style prototype. But then there's the AFD 4, which is the aluminum that ended up on the SN95, I believe. I'm going to double check all that. Man, with all this lingo, sometimes things get a little bit confusing. Rear defrost, it should have. It's a Canadian car. I'm sure it's there, Tom. Suki. I haven't seen Suki in a while.
She's got defrost.
Actually, you know what? You keep going around and talking. I'm going to grab my next beer, and I'm going to grab the Dech pamphlet real quick.
So probably one of the most mind-boggling things for me, like this thing just goes on. And actually, I should explain this too. For anyone that's got a real tight eye, this thing's got a bit of a rad guard on it. There was a story that Sean, the previous owner, told me. So this car apparently spent a lot of times going back and forth to California. It's been to Vegas a few times. He's a real sweetheart of a guy. He was actually, I think he was doing a road trip with his mom, is the way the story went. And they were in the middle of somewhere, like, I'm talking no cell service, kind of nowhere. And he ended up taking a rock to the rad, punctured the rad. So, and I mean, in a GT, which is kind of odd, he must have caught it like either off the road and up or through the air dam. But anyway, punctured the rad. And he's like, I'll be damned if I'm ever having that happen to me again. So anyway, this thing's been outfitted with a bit of a radiator guard, if you will, to whatever, keep his road trips a little safer. But it's got a beefed up, apparently this is some sort of a thicker, like 3-core forward rad. I mean, I'll get to the back of the car. I'll show you the stack of invoices that came in the file folder. That'll blow your mind too. Sean was a handy enough guy and definitely knew and loved the cars, but a lot of the work was done by shops that he knew and trusted. So, so the way the story goes on the motor, with this thing having 433,000 clicks on it, the motor was apparently pulled apart, tore down to nothing, re-ringed and re-bearinged at 100,000 K, which is like 60,000 miles. And I'm sure a lot of you folks listening are going, well, that seems a little early to be tearing her down. But I mean, Sean was just that type of guy. Like, I think he was just, over the top and ahead of the curve when it came to any kind of maintenance. But what's mind-boggling for me is this thing, I mean, kilometers or miles doesn't matter. You'll get the idea with the math. This thing was rebuilt, well, essentially rebuilt. I don't know if it was honed or not. It might have just got a new set of rings and bearings, but redone 330,000 or 320,000 kilometers ago. And when I did a compression test on this car, every cylinder came out anywhere from like 140 to 150, which absolutely blows my mind. Like, for anybody that knows anything about compression tests and mileage, like, just wild.
And did you do every cylinder?
Every cylinder. I even broke a spark plug.
Oh, yeah. I remember you telling me that. So your range is 130 to 140.
Yeah, no, 140 to 150.
Oh, 140, 150. So that's like, man, that's hardly any variance at all. That's crazy.
Yeah, like, I mean, OEM spec. And not, I'll take you under the car here, folks, but like not a single leak anywhere. Like, I've been through this thing with a fine-tooth comb. It's absolutely mind-boggling how immaculate this thing is. Old school alarm. Hey, gotta love it.
Does it make like the old school noises?
Well, I haven't armed it because it's been so long since I pissed around with an alarm. I thought I'd probably screw it up and have it squawking on me. But here, let's run around to the back. I'll show you guys the old school Alpine controller.
Yeah, because it's actually got an old school SoundStream reference and some JL, I believe.
Look at this beauty.
Ooh.
Right? Okay,
Yeah.
Watch this.
Ooh. Really?
Uptown.
Jason Thompson. So I've actually located a set of Simmons wheels, just like the Dech number 5 car. So black basket weave with polished lips that will get refinished and end up on this car.
Okay, don't mind the spare in here, folks. It's a little bit half storage. I think you probably all caught it all. Like, I got dust everywhere. I'm just trying to keep everything as contained and cleaned as possible here. So, sunroof bag, believe it or not.
I need one of those, and apparently, thank you to Coyote Fox. Coyote, yeah.
Okay, so how about? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, apparently, like factory sunroof bags are available via NPD. So I'm actually gearing up to get one for the strawberry car. Now that I've got my spare tire well sub in there, I want to be able to take the moonroof out and actually set it in the back properly.
I need
Yeah,
a
so
beer.
Eric H, check it out on NPD.
Okay.
Birds Rides, what's up?
Now this is pretty slick, done quite slick. So obviously if you did ever leave your cover open, right, nice and whatever, just kind of looks like a standard Stang, especially for 90 standards, right? Boom shakalaka. Right?
And I'm excited to hear this thing.
Look at this beauty.
Now that's a badass amplifier. So if anybody knows car audio, and I'm not sure which variation that those JL subs are. What is it? Like they got the W ranges, I think.
I just got to crack my beer, but go on, yeah.
But yeah, those old SoundStream reference amps, like man, they went down. Like some of them were like quarter ohm stable. You know, you could go from 15 watts by 4 to like an insane 1,000 watts by 1 or something insane.
Okay, actually I should, hang on, let me have a sip and I'm going to crack this all open. I should probably do this with 2 hands, but okay, so CD changer hole cut into this kind of beauty plate. Now right. This all breaks apart. Okay. Boom.
Nice.
Hold on here. One-man filming band here, ladies and gents. So she came with the Alpine 6 disc. So we got to bring out the case logic for the trip to Foxtoberfest. Now this comes off too. Let me just see if I can do that with one hand. Okay, here we are. So this is just hanging in here loose. This typically upside down sits in this little deal, mounts in there, and you can flip your 6 discs out on your road trip kind of thing, right? All properly wired up. Like this was all professionally done as per Sean, the previous owner. Got a little packing paper so the jack doesn't rattle around.
Got all your essentials right there. You're good if you break down.
We got a bag of spare goodies. God forbid we blow a headlight on the trip. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff in here. Hell, there's even like rock guards. These are, I forget who the hell made them. Maybe that's like Pro Comp or something. Rock guards for your fog lights.
Oh,
yeah.
Actually, I have a set.
Do you?
These came on my 93 Cobra.
Well, dude, these look like off-road standards. Check these rigs out. Like they're heavy gauge.
All right.
They're iron. Like
I can tell just, oh, look at that. That's
right?
like, don't steal these. The bars are on.
Yeah.
Tom had a good question. If you zoom in where that crack is on the back there, but like in the seam where the hatch is, does it carry through?
Like to about there.
Interesting. So
Like
for anybody who's wondering,
it doesn't look structural or anything.
yeah, so I know people are going to ask about VIN stickers on this car. So very unfortunately, that was one of the first questions that I asked. I think they've all been removed, right? Like they're not even there, like, because even the rad support, none of the like the AC label or any of that stuff, the belt routing, none of those are there. It's like whoever painted the car initially, I know they painted it correctly, but I think they just took all of that off. Like it was like even underside of the hatch. Is there any remnants of it there?
No, but it's like properly painted too, though. So
well, I think that's it. I think like the car was like disassembled, and it was just like, you know what, we want to make this as clean as possible. Screw these little pieces of, you know, factory tape with some numbers on them, and they took them all off.
Yeah. Got some little rub panels, like 3M rub panels there. But okay, this is actually pretty neat stuff here, ladies and gents.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Tom. Like, I think that there was a light skim coat of probably some Evercoat on that pillar, because there's a natural wave there. And, you know, in factory, despite your car being subframe connected or not being subframe connected, that is where the roof meets the quarter panel. And that seam, there's actually factory fill in that seam. Same thing goes for your A-pillars in the front, where they've actually used lead, and they'll crack there and crack in the back. So you could be right, Tom. And, you know, my understanding was it wasn't that bad. And then the shop tried to do something and cover it up, and it looks worse than it is. But I was going to ask you about this. This looks exciting. We're getting into details here.
This one's pretty impressive. I know you got one of these, bud, but ready?
I was holding that up earlier, so I'll hold mine up.
I don't even want to touch it and put my fingerprints on the bloody thing.
Oops. I've got some crisp ones. I almost spilled beer on it. I got very crisp ones right here. But yeah, these are sweet.
Right? There's the man himself looking down from heaven. Pretty cool. All right. Now here, I just want to try to keep this as tight as possible. This is all the correspondence, right, between Sean and Derek. Now this is pretty staggering. Any of you old school folks watching this, check out like the vintage of some of these receipts. Like yellow paper, carbon copy. It just goes
It probably wasn't that yellow initially. Just over time, it's gone even more yellow.
Oh man, like you need an archaeologist, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
To dial this all in. Yeah, it's crazy. Like just 1.5 inches of goodness. The whole documentation of this car.
George,
no, it's crazy, man.
Are you in Mexico? I think we got a Mexico watcher here.
Nice. I think we got some Mexico listeners on the pod too, so that's wicked. Okay, we may as well lift her up, hey?
Yeah, let's have a little look on the underside.
Okay.
See what's going on.
I'll bolt all this back together here once we're done, folks, but let me just kind of somewhat close things down a bit.
So 2 things I noticed is that the driver's seat has hardly any gangster lean. Like there is a little bit, but not that bad. And the rear bumper has hardly any sag. Like in terms of mileage and, you know, seat time, it's just unreal. Those little things. Like look at the bolsters. Like
it's crazy, dude.
Like
My
to not
92
have a
coupe's not this
tear
good.
there. And what's funny enough is you didn't get the roll of fabric, right? So if anybody out there is looking for OE tweed fabric, the seller of the car actually has got a couple yards of it.
Yeah, like 87 style with the kind of the pink in it. Yeah. Okay, let's put her up. Bear with me, guys. This might be a little loud as I lift her up.
So Paul Bricklayer says that it doesn't add up. But let me tell you guys, I got the Carfax report. It's actually, I put screenshots in my first video. You would have had to have been a very
I'm
creative.
just going to mute here, bud.
Yeah,
while I'm lifting, it's kind of loud.
Yeah. So you would have had to have been extremely well pre-planned. Like that Carfax, literally, like every year you saw that mileage creep up. And I don't know who in their right mind would ever want to say there's more mileage on their vehicle than there actually is. But I've personally never seen such an amazing chronological order in Carfax. And it started all back in 94. I want to say it was the first entry, and it was around, I forget now. I'll have to double check. But I think that's around when Carfax came out, or maybe that's when Canada started actually reporting to Carfax. But everything after 94, and it was just like mileage kept going. And this guy drove this car from Vancouver all the way down to California and back, which, you know what I mean? You put a couple thousand miles on one way, and, you know, if he's doing that trip 3, 4, 5 times a year, well, he's owned the car since, I believe, 89 or 90. I forget what Gary said in his video. He can... I
think it was 90.
Yeah. So, you know, after 3 years, so 90 to 2021, or 2022 already, you know what I mean? He had over 30 years to, you know, rack all this mileage up. So obviously he took care of the car. You know, you wash your car, you know, wax it and vacuum it. And, you know, it's like my video that I did with the strawberry car about how fragile that these things are. If you get in and out of your car properly, like you're not elbow on the bolster all the time and like plopping yourself in the seat, you open the ashtray door and close it with care. You open the door handle, you know, the proper roll up procedure, and all those things. Then these cars can last a really, really long time. Like obviously here, look at the underside isn't as clean, right? So we got a little bit of dirt. We got some grime. The Flowmasters have actually burnt off the, some of the factory coating. You can see where they heat up and the way that the baffles go, which is super neat. But we got the Dech springs. We got yellow conies.
Grabbers.
Got the grabbers sitting there. For anybody curious, the grabbers lower the mounting position of your lower control arm by about 3/4 of an inch. They change your pinion angle, slightly lower the car down a little bit. And that was all to improve handling and performance. It's actually got the
control arms.
Yep. Did you actually find out that the front control arms, what they were, Gary?
Yeah, I'll get up to them, but they're BMR.
Okay. So all the bushings and you know, all those things, they would have had to have been done despite the mileage, right? So Dech didn't use tubulars. You know, Dech later on, they used to press in their own bushings into the factory control arms. But, you know, given this car, its age and everything else, and is that aluminum drive shaft upgrade?
Yeah, buddy.
Nice. That's a bonus.
Yeah.
Martin. Wow. Is that car Canadian? I love it. So
bolt-in subframes, which is kind of interesting. He wasn't sure on the make, but I think BBK is the only one that does the bolt-ins, right?
Yes, but the way that bolt is not the way BBK does in the back. There's something weird there.
They've definitely hit a couple of, dusted a couple speed bumps.
That's fine. Yeah, see that little jaunt in the back there?
Yeah.
With the bolt coming down vertically, that's different. Maybe that's BMR.
Oh, maybe. Did they do bolt-ins?
Maybe. They do a lot of weird bolt-in stuff. I don't know if anybody's watching. If you know what those subframes are, let us know, because we have no idea. Interesting thing about Dech is they actually didn't use subframe connectors. They actually believed in letting the unibody flex naturally. So my strawberry car, for instance, has no subframes on it, never has, never will. And
goddamn catalytics.
Yeah. Oh, man. Where was I going with that? Oh, for the underside, for being Canadian. So, Martin, the interesting thing about Canadian cars is that for people, proper enthusiasts from Canada, they're aware of a thing called winter. So what they do is they only enjoy their cars for certain months out of the year, and they're smart. They put their cars away. They know that if there's any type of salt or brine that's been sprayed on the road, to not drive their vehicles. And the result is this. So sometimes when you go really far north, you can actually find really, really clean stuff. You can actually find clean low mile stuff, because sometimes people are only driving them, 6 months out of the year. And as a result, they don't have, 12 months of driving. I hate those bushings on the end links, by the way. Those got to go. I think those are like AC Delco or something. That they're shit.
Hey, and listen, let me just put a little forward in here, folks. I like, hand on heart, I swear on my children's eyes, I have not wiped anything under this car. This is literally how I got it. Okay. Like, the dryness that you see underneath this car is literally, I've driven it once. It's missing the clutch cover.
That's a no-no.
Got
So
an
that's
adjustable cable, but
adjustable cable. It's got a high torque mini starter in it that I just noticed as well.
Yeah, it does.
So that got upgraded.
Ceramic unequal lengths to a
Can you
cat
zoom in
BBK.
on the torque boxes again? Somebody was asking here. DP.
I can't zoom, folks. I mean, I'm holding this stick.
They're pretty clean, man. Like, even the pinch welds and stuff, like, that's a nice thing. Like, when people take care of their stuff.
I don't think there's a mark in them at all.
Like, if you watch KASL's video, is actually quite interesting when he was telling you about when he bought the car and he made the owner drive it and told him to, like, give it. And the guy was like, no, I don't drive my car that way. Obviously some of us could lie about that, but it is a pretty good test when you want to kind of get an idea of how a car was cared for. Now, back then, he bought the car with 27,000 original kilometers, which is nothing. Like, there's a lot out there with, hundreds of thousands of kilometers with like quarter mile drag strip weekends and street racing and everything else that have happened. So,
hey, so something crazy I noticed here. I've never seen heat shielding on a set of Flowmasters.
I have.
Oh, really?
It's the thing. I want to say they're 3 chambers. I want to say
they sound like
with heat shields.
Well, they're longer too. So they sound kind of like a 50 or a 60. They're not like obscene, but they got a nice little sound to them.
Yeah.
They won't get me kicked out of my neighborhood.
Tom, they are tubular, so that's what we were saying earlier. They've all been upgraded. So Dech didn't use tubular stuff. So in terms of probably instead of trying to press bushings out, he just went ahead and got, an aftermarket arm with bushings pre-installed. So that explains that. We got the Coney yellows in the front. So one thing too that's interesting, guys, is that these aren't just Coney off the shelf struts and shocks in this car. These would have been the Dech spec Coneys, which actually would have been valved differently specific to Dech's specifications. Now, unless they've been changed, which judging by that sticker I just saw, Gary, they might have been. Is that a newer Coney sticker?
I can't tell, bud. I'm sorry.
I think that might be the newer Coney sticker. So maybe not, but at least the theme is there. God knows that would be a testament to Coney if 250,000 miles of rebound going up and down and everything else, and they were still kicking.
Smog pump delete.
Your favorite.
Right? OEM belt, buddy. We'll find this thing in the middle of nowhere when we're doing the cross-country trip.
We should do a poll, like, to see how many people use that pulley versus just getting the shorter belt. Because how much does that pulley cost?
Oh, dude, I take a lot of hell on my video for that one, right? Like the
How
comments
much
fly.
is it?
What, the delete pulley, like the idler?
Yeah, to buy that.
I think it's about $80, $90.
So, and just to save the factory belt, you're spending $80, $90.
Yeah, it's true. We got a couple little GT war wounds, right? Standard issue.
So how's the stone chip situation and everything in the
Dude,
front?
I don't think there's any.
Did he ever say he had a cover or like protection or taped it
The
up?
the LeBra?
LeBra?
No, he didn't say, but I mean, it doesn't show any signs of having a LeBra on it. So
Maybe he just drove back roads only and drove really slow.
man, I like, what will happen. I mean, when we do just a little here, hell, my neck and arm is killing me. I'm gonna flip this thing around and BS with you guys. The plan here, folks, for when we're doing our cross country tour is we're gonna kind of, to keep things somewhat normalized, where we can kind of do things on the fly and not have to worry about editing at night in a hotel and all that good stuff. Sorry guys, bear with me, I'm doing too many things at once. There we go.
CLG, thanks for tuning in, man. We'll catch you later.
So
and Paul Bricklayer says it's been painted more than once. It has. I know it had like a full spray when the kit went on, and then I think it had a touch-up spray at some other point in its life. So, like, how the second paint job was done, I'm assuming that's the one, or maybe not. Maybe it was the original one that maybe they sanded down, and then that went through the skim coat that they put on and cracked on that rear quarter. So, who knows?
These cars always have little mysteries to them, right?
Oh, yeah.
But, like, I'm here to tell you, folks, well, you guys have seen it as good as you can through video anyway. Like, this car, literally, where I was going with that whole story, too, is we're going to try and do lives. So we'll give you the full effect as we're driving the damn thing. But I've driven it firsthand. This car, literally, I mean, I'm not trying to sound like a dickhead here, but, like, my 92 Coupe's pretty tight. This car drives as good, if not better. Like, hand on heart. It is absolutely staggering. I'll be honest with you. I thought this thing's going to feel like a wooden wagon. It's going to feel like my 91 Vert, right?
I can attest to that. I remember you saying, you're just like, holy shit, man. It's got that many miles on it. He's like, you were just like, this car is not going to ride good at all.
It is absolutely crazy how tight it is. Like, I didn't drive one brand new off the lot, right? The closest I ever got was my coupe, which had like 20,000 miles on it. So as close to new as you could feel them, right? This car feels exactly like that. It will literally blow your mind.
And that's crazy to say it about a hatchback as well, right?
Yeah.
Because you're kind of missing that
rattles.
Yeah.
Like, it's tight.
Unreal. I can't wait to drive it.
Yeah, man. And goes too. Like, I think it's got a set of 3.27s in it. Gets up and goes. Like, this thing, if you want it to, it'll break loose in first for sure. Like a roll-on giving her.
Right.
Yeah. Likes to get up and go. And not like cranny's nice. Everything's good. Like, it's everything you would want if you were looking for a Fox. Honest to God.
But you broke the flasher.
Well, you know what? I think it was just loose.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I pulled the whole bloody column apart and wiggled the flasher, and all of a sudden it was working again. So, yeah.
You know what? I actually had something happen once, because there's the hazard flasher and then there's the turn signal flasher, right? So if people don't know, there's actually two. And I've actually had it where one of them didn't work, or didn't work properly, I should say, and I just swapped them, and then everything started working again. But maybe loose connection.
Right.
And it fixed it. But the other key thing, too, is the hazard switch, right? And that's a little tip for today is that a lot of times if that connector, the wires pull out of that connector on the back of the hazard switch and your column cover, and that can cause you grief with everything turn signal related.
Yeah. Well, and it was just giving me like, you turn it on and the indicator went on solid.
No, oh my God. Paul, you're killing me, man. Did you see this comment?
17-inch ponies? Attaboy.
No, I put them right up there in the same category as those center lines. That's what I think of 17-inch ponies. I'm sorry.
I don't know if Calypso Coyote's on here, but he'd argue with you on that one too.
Oh, I'm sure he would. Sure he would.
What do we got in here? Have I missed a bunch?
You've missed so much. Oh, here, someone was talking about your pulley. I run that smog pump pulley bracket in order to run and clear my Paxton SN supercharger. So that's his pull. So fair enough. I could see that.
Yep.
Being something. Interestingly enough, I'm trying to think of how that would work because that's an SN. He's saying on a Paxton SN supercharger. So just trying to think of my black car, because the reason why my smog pump is still on the way that it is on the Stalker Vert is because the alternator gets bolted underneath the smog pump when you relocate all your accessories for the Vortec. So I'm not sure if there is a way. There probably is, but maybe I need it just for that.
There you go. This isn't the OE one, like not the Ford one. It's that aftermarket kind of CNC'd one. I got that one on my coupe, and I got the OE one on the Vert.
Has the heater core been replaced, Gary?
I don't know, actually.
It has to have been.
Well, yeah, it'd be a stretch to think. If it hasn't, then this car has the best horseshoes up. It's what, and it'll probably happen to us somewhere between here and Texas too.
Well, you'll be able to check, right, if the fittings are copper or aluminum.
True. Yeah, I haven't looked that close at it, but maybe bringing a set of quick little U routers would be in our best interest. Put them in the suitcase.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So we should talk a little bit about that, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because at this point, like if you've tuned in now, you missed all the good stuff. Although we are up to 83 people have logged in here.
Yeah, thanks, guys. That means a lot.
Thank you for everybody that's in here. Thank you guys so much. I actually didn't think that we'd, I was hoping for 50, so I'm pleased with how many people hit this up. But the reality is that if you missed the go around, this is all going to get posted up. You're going to be able to watch it later, anyways.
I think, yeah, and on both of our channels, right? I think.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, so Foxtoberfest, it's official. So I'm going to cross the line. Canoes, hang gliders, whatever I can get my hands on, I'm coming.
An 87 Dech Foxbody.
Yeah. So we're crossing the line, and I'm going to head down to Chris in Texas, and we're going to do a front bumper swap. If we don't nail something down pre-go here, these center lines might get swapped out up here, but we're going to do a wheel swap. Is there anything else I'm missing, buddy?
Well, we're going to we'll see, because we got to get a Dech front bumper on this car. So that is something that needs to happen, because if you guys haven't noticed, it still has the fog lights in the front, and the previous owner wanted to keep the GT look. And I touched on my video that a lot of people back in Canada who are putting Dech kits on their cars after the fact, I've actually seen people just buy the GT nose cone, put it on their LX, to get the fog lights, and then they do Dech everything else, despite their moldings not lining up. I'm sure Tom will agree from an OCD perspective on that one. So in this case, he did the same thing. He wanted the mean lights, the fog lights and just the parking lights to go on. But yeah, that bumper is going to get. So we're going to do one of two things. Either I'm going to find another GT front bumper cover that hopefully has some damage below the molding, and then I will take that whole unit and I'll cut the bad portion off, mount the Dech skirt on it, spray it black, and just swap out the whole nose cone and then keep the one that's on the car now as an available piece to go with the story and the history of the car, to avoid, because, well, you guys saw the paint. Like, I'd cringe, even me personally, cutting through that like near mint GT bumper just to put a Dech skirt on. So I'll probably find a replacement, put that on. It needs a Dech shifter knob, so we'll bring a Nylotron Dech shifter.
Right.
Get that guy on there. I don't think it has a Dech banner on the windshield, does it?
Nope.
We'll get one of those on there. One thing, just before I forget, David Rand, about the original seat material, if you are interested in that, just reach out to us via social media or just send me an email at info@theinfamousproject.com. We'll try and get you in touch and see if you can get that seat material. It needs to go to good use. You know, this car didn't need it, so we didn't take it.
Tell me, get the ratchet strap. So yeah, exactly. PL 400, we'll make it happen.
What's going on, Louis? Yeah, I'm sure JJ that the heater core has been swapped.
Okay, so anyway,
Foxbody at this point. Actually, the only heater core that I know has not been swapped, and I'm probably cursing myself right now, is this one right here behind me. This one has not been swapped.
Yep, my coupe hasn't either.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, man. We just
Fingers
cursed
crossed.
ourselves. Exactly. Knocked out some wood now.
Go home and reclick coolant in the garage, yeah. Okay, so anyway, we any of you that listen to our pod, you know we get sidetracked all the time. But yeah, so pointer down to Texas, and then the plan is to roll into Foxtoberfest, ideally nice and early. We've got all kinds of ideas as to, well, personal ideas as to how we're going to do this. I mean, I think there's going to be a house rented. We're kicking around the idea about maybe doing a little bit of a beer and a burger at the house at some point in time.
So an after party for those people that aren't rushing home. We'll see how that can go.
Yes, if you guys want to come by the house, have a beer and a burger, we'll do a little whatever, right? Like bring the car by, and I don't know if we can find somebody, because we're in hot rod country down there, right? Like if we can find somebody that doesn't mind their driveways repainted, hell, we'll do a burnout contest, whatever. Might just be the damage deposit that goes out the window. I don't know. But yeah, we're in for a good time, guys. So anyone that's coming over and wants to say hi and hang out and have a couple pints, let's do it. And
there will be there's going to be a number of Dech cars. I'm going to be completely Dech themed at Foxtoberfest this year, and you know, part of my, I guess, hidden agenda with Gary is to have the additional added support and Canadian support, if you will, because the Dech number 5 car will be getting brought down to the event, and there'll be another Dech car as well, which I don't think has ever had an appearance yet. There's actually potential for 2 Dech cars. We'll see. We'll see what goes on. So you guys will have to stay tuned for that. And hopefully maybe at Foxtoberfest. I think if we do a little convoy thing as we go, Gary, with the lives, you know what I mean? It'd be a pretty cool little campaign.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then
I'm 100% all over that. Like, well, what we'll do, folks, is kind of post the route, if you will. We'll give you some rough times as to when we think we'll be passing through and whatever. If there's a pub or something we can pull into,
we might need a DD, right? So we might need your help, you know. And if you guys want to see how tight this car actually feels, that could be an option. You know, it could be a little, test and trial. Somebody wants to know, Gary, when are you giving your mom the vert? I didn't know that was the thing.
Ready, steady. Thanks for the question, buddy. And it's actually very serendipitous that you ask at this point in time, because my 3 girls are at home right now. My 4th, being my wife, is out doing makeup. She does makeup for weddings and stuff like that. My 5th girl in my life, my mom, is at home with my girls right now. She doesn't live in town, but she just happens to be visiting right now. And she actually needs to get going. But here I am drinking beer at the shop and yip-yapping with you guys. So Mom has seen the vert, like kind of felt it out, but doesn't really know the full spiel on it yet. Now, one thing there's a couple things that I really want to do to the car, i.e. it's still got the original rad in it. Like that needs to get flipped out. And then you guys might have seen my video on the GT40 bits and pieces. I'm like, man, I really want to do like a nostalgic 90s GT40 build. And I actually talked to a guy today. I'm feeling him out a little bit. He's a local kind of well-known Ford guy, if you will. I wanted to get him to true the heads up, put a set of springs in them for me, do a valve job, check them all out. And maybe, just maybe, he was kind of 50-50 on whether or not I could go there. And I said to him, I'm like, listen, buddy, I got a shop too, so I know what it's like. I don't want to stand over your shoulder and be like, oh, wait a minute, what about that? Or so I said, it's none of that. But I think people would love to see a bit of a GT40 kind of overhaul, right?
So you're going to open up that Cherry Cars motor.
I know, and there's a lot of people that have given me heck for this already. But, you know, in all honesty, folks, like, it is leaps and bounds different than this car. Like, hand on heart, the 91 Vert is not even, some of you have probably seen the videos underneath that car. Like, this thing you could eat off of. That Vert, you wouldn't even have McDonald's underneath it. Like, it's seen some time, you know? So anyway, I think it needs a tighten up. I'd love to tune up that engine bay. It's seen nothing but southern weather. All the loomings rotted out. It needs a set of gaskets, and I think a nice GT40 treatment would be cool for that car. So
absolutely. We do have a question, Stang GT 8587. So who owns Dech car number 1? I actually don't know the answer to that. It's actually the keychains in the brochure that Gary held up earlier and down one of the images. I'm assuming it would have belonged to somebody that Derek knew. In fact, Dech number 5 belonged to someone that Derek knew quite well. And the cool thing about that car is it actually went. I have the paper that shows that it went from Ford to Derek, then Derek to the dealer, and then the dealer selling it to the individual that he knew. So it's actually kind of a cool chain of ownership. So part of my goal for the rest of the year now is to get as much information Dech related assembled together and then come out with a documentary that can share as much information about the Dech history. Call it a Canadian motorsport story, if you will, because I think there's a lot there. There's a lot of people that were involved in one way or another. And, you know, it's like herding cats, you know, because it's trying to get a hold of all these guys from 30 plus years ago that all had, you know, interest or involvement in things and trying to get that all documented. But I do look forward to that, and I hope all you guys will too.
Hey, buddy, let me throw something in here.
Yes.
I don't know if Josh is still in here. Tom definitely is. So, hey, both of you two jabronis, you guys have given me a tall order in that if I make my way down to you guys, I get keys to a teal car and a gray car. So it's happening. Come hell or high water. If
I know Tom would do it. Tom will do it.
I know he would. So would Josh. I mean, we're buddies, right? We chat all the time, but no, I'm just teasing. But no, boys, I can't wait to get in the mix. I mean, hell, I'm so isolated up here in communist Canada. It's a goddamn shame. But yeah, coming down to the red, white, and blue. It's Josh is still.
Let me post that so everybody can see it.
I don't even, in all honesty, okay, I'll be serious with both of those two right now. I don't even think I want to touch the keys. Like, not because I'm, you know, I don't know. That's a weird scenario, right? Like, it's kind of like going in your wife's purse, right? It's like, no, you go in it for me. I don't want to know what the hell's in there, right? Just.
I don't know what I'm going to find.
I don't even want it. Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. But those two cars, I mean, Christ, I've drooled over them since I knew they existed.
Here's another one. There you go. Keys are yours.
Oh, my God, you too. Okay, I'm going to have
and I get them too. Nice. So here is one thing in all honesty, that I want to throw out there to both Tom, Josh, and you, Gary. All of you need to drive this car behind me because, everybody gives Air a hard time. Now, mind you, we're talking, 20,000 original miles on a body, but plus Air. But that's the thing. The factory struts are still on the car. You guys need to try this one out. And I'd love to hear, because it's one of those things, like I can talk about it all day just as somebody that's owned more than these than I can count. But I always love getting people's perspective on it. You know what I mean? Like even when Tom drove the white car, I was just like, to me, my white coupe is like, and Tom, if you're listening, my white car is clapped out compared to the silver one. And Tom was like, man, your white car drove great for being that low and static. JJ says Dech number 1 is alive and well. He's been sort of chiming in as we've been going along. So clearly he knows a lot about
would he be the owner?
And everything that's going on. So JJ, if you don't mind, I'm not sure who you are. Maybe I do know who you are, but I just don't know what your alias is. But please do reach out to me personally. I love to ping your brain and get more information from you. So info@theinfamousproject.com or hit me on social media or anything and introduce yourself and let me know what info you got.
For anyone else listening, send them a bunch of dick pics too.
Don't do that.
Hey, boys, Josh and Tom, thanks, boys. That means a lot to me. One of the things, I don't know who anyone listening that's seen Brother Tom's video recently of driving the War Admiral. Man, that's cool, right? Like, there's nothing better than seeing just that teeth and eyeballs. Like, oh my God, like what kind of a demon is this thing, right? That's cool stuff, right?
Absolutely. Well, cool. How are we doing? You got to go drink beers with somebody, don't you?
Well, I do in about 10 minutes, but okay. And a little cleanup behind me. But yeah, I mean, I guess as far as sealing this deal up, folks, thanks so much for tuning in. I mean, I know there's been a lot of people in and out, and probably people grabbing dinner in between and whatever else. But thanks for tagging along. It means a ton to us, I mean.
Yeah, and if you want to see more lives, like we plan on doing a whole shit ton of lives when we do our drive, but there's nothing stopping us from, because our podcast is pretty much alive because it's just recorded straight up. We really don't. The only things that we crop out of that is just our little, what do we call those, intermissions, because we can't afford to pay for Zoom Premium. So we're literally just splicing tracks back together. But you know what? This has actually worked really well in terms of a platform and being able to go live collectively. So maybe that's a thing that we can bring in as well. Again, your comments and everything else that you can send to us, improvements, tell us we suck, tell us you like us, whatever. It's all good.
Or I'll just reiterate, like any reviews you want to give us. I mean, love it or hate it, whatever. It just, I mean, we're doing this just kind of for fun, folks. Obviously taking time away from our families and stuff, but we do enjoy doing it. Don't get me wrong. Love it. I quite honestly, like, I look forward to our Thursday night record times, right? Because I'm like, I get to yak with Chris and this guy gets me, right? And we talk cars and we talk everything in between. It's great. But if you guys are liking it, it's that whole it's the world we live in, right? Of algorithms and stuff. So if you review it, if you're liking it or you're hating it or you're whatever you're doing, it just helps us know that you're actually digging it or you're not or you're whatever. And makes us want to do more. So
for sure. Jerry just got in here. Jerry's a cool dude from down here in Texas, so he'll watch the recap. Unrelated question, real last. Doing SN95 swap in a Fox, are the throttle body connections the same or different? You know what? I'm assuming. What's that? The elbows. Yeah, but like, is it an SN95 5.0, 9495, or is it a 4.6? I hope it's not a 4.6. You can reach out to us on one of our socials. And you know what? I'm not a huge SN95 expert. I only own one. It's a Dech, and that's the only reason why I own it. And it's been in storage. It's going to stay in storage until SN95s become cool again.
The jelly beans.
Oh, it is a 5.0. So yeah, no. What do we got aside from that throttle body? Because it's got that elbow on there, right?
Well, if you're putting all that into a Fox, I mean, you got it's the same BS I'm gonna have to go through with this GT40, right? That what the hell's a sensor?
TPS?
Air, no, air.
Idle air?
You got to drill and tap. Yeah, idle air control bypass or whatever the hell it is.
Right.
Yeah, if you're putting that into a Fox, you got to do that. So stay tuned because I'm going to be going through all this BS with my mom's vert. So I'll have a bunch of whatever.
So when are you planning on doing that? The reason why I asked because I have GT40. Well, no, sorry, I already got Cobra intakes in the white car, but I have a line on a set of 3 bars that I need to rip into the white coupe because the timing cover is leaking so bad that all that needs to get ripped out. So I'm going to go one step above that and going to be adding a B cam in there as well that I got on the shelf. So same thing. I didn't want to rip into this long block, but when the timing cover is as nasty as it is, like if you're ripping all that apart, the only thing that I'm thinking about doing is I want to put a gear drive in. I know a lot of people don't do it. I want to do it.
That would sound cool.
Yeah, but like I'm not trying to win races or anything. Like some people, I know you got to do like some clearance on the timing cover, you know, and a few other things. Like some people talk shit about them or whatever. But you know, a good friend of mine back in the day had one. He never had an issue. He just sounded badass pulling up. I
mean, I don't know enough about them to be able to comment like from a scientific level, but I would think overall you're probably like, well. Yeah, you're taking the one picture out of the piece, which is the chain, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'd like to think that you're probably dealing with the same amount of longevity. You know, like the 2 sprockets are obviously going to have their own amount of wear and everything else. But it would, like, from what I gather, they sound super cool, right? They kind of get that square tooth or that straight tooth whine to them a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they're definitely... Yeah, you're probably doing it in something that doesn't deserve it. Like it's more of a high horsepower, quick quarter-mile run type mod. But it would be a cool deal to do and let everybody see it kind of unfold.
Right. Absolutely. What else we got here? B303 sounds awesome. Be lavish. Still remake the Dech body kit. Yeah, so I can still get the body kits. That is like the one last Dech remaining item that can still be made from the original molds. So those are, I have them on my website. They are back ordered at the moment because I need to hit like certain thresholds so I can get Peter to take the molds out of storage and then the kits get made. So I think I'm going to have another run coming up here in the next month, which if anybody's interested, yeah, you can hit me up on that. And what else we got here? Read the love when making and posting these vids up. Yes, read love. Absolutely. And
lots of love, I think.
Yeah, no, we do get lots of love. And it's hard, guys. Like, you know what I mean? We get lots of comments. Me and Gary are both one-man shows. Well, a lot of us YouTubers are, but it's pretty crazy. Like when, you know, you're grinding all day, you're hustling, trying to do stuff, and then you get an Instagram notification here, a Facebook notification there, and then a YouTube, and then this, and then that. And, you know, I try and respond personally to everybody that I can. And, you know, sometimes just a thumbs up or a cheers with some beer. I think I can echo Gary or speak for Gary. You know, it's not, no disrespect to anybody, but sometimes, you know, you're on the fly and you're just trying to like engage and recognize the fact that you guys have commented or, you know, shared your thoughts and opinions and everything else.
No, it means a ton to us for sure. I can echo that for sure.
Yeah.
I know I love, oh, Paul's in here too. How you doing, bud?
This is the Fox.
Yeah. Paul
the
and
coolest
Sally.
last name in the game.
Yeah, no kidding. Great people. Like for anybody that doesn't know Paul DeFox and Sally DeFox, like absolute saints. They're beautiful, beautiful human beings. I talk to Paul quite often. He's a absolute top shelf, 10 out of 10 fella. And Sally, I haven't talked to her. Paul and I chat on the phone once in a while, but wicked family, unreal people. You guys got to check out their videos. He has this red coupe that is, well, I'd like to see that red coupe and the War Admiral parked side by side. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah,
Right?
that would be good for sure. Yeah, no, Paul doesn't mess around.
No.
You know, we've been part of similar clubs for decades, and you know what? We had our opportunity to kind of network at this, and this just goes to show in Canada. Like at the end of last year, I think it was October. Paul, correct me if I'm wrong here. There's this Foxbody meetup on a weekend, and it was close to the end of the season, and there was like 125 Fox bodies or something that showed up. Just like, come on, like I get Foxtoberfest is a big event, but like we're in Toronto, Canada, and you get over 100 Fox bodies that come out. God damn, Jerry, got some Miller Lights in the fridge. Absolutely, thank you for that.
That means a ton. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. What else do I want to shout out to here? There was something. I'm sorry, guys. See, this is the problem, right? We get so many comments and everything else because I had a note here. The coilovers. Paul, I still have those coilovers. They're actually sitting in a bin on the shelf. The problem with the design, I got to get custom hats made because, as some of you may or may not know, the hats vary. For your caster camber plate area between 87 or like your pre 91 cars and then going above, or pre 90 cars and then going above, they're different. So I got to get that because I want to put it on my 91. So that's the reason for the coilovers. I am going to get around to them. In fact, maybe I'll end up, who knows, maybe I'll put them on the stock Vert because that car is sort of like my prototype, constant changing everything car. So maybe I'll do it on that. And somebody else posted up in here about the white Dech 93.
Hey, buddy, hold on. I screwed something up just so everybody knows. Fuck, I just put somebody in timeout. I don't even know what the hell that is. I was trying to star their comment and I fat fingered it. Christ.
Oh, yeah. Paul Bricklayer. So, yeah, you got it in Lloyd Green. You blocked them.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I was trying to
they can't see you. They're blocked. Oh, man. Can you not go back to their comment and hit the 3 buttons?
I've had a couple of
beers. I just saw your face. I'm like, you're going to have to come back and be like, oh, my God, what have I done in the live stream?
I'm dealing with – I got an iPhone mini because I think that the small ones – I'm a littler guy. They fit better in my pocket, and I fat fingered it. I'm sorry.
I agree. Smaller phones should be the way to go. Absolutely. So while you're trying to like unblock people, there was a question about a white 93 Dech that's posted in Toronto right now. It's big money. I was supposed to try and buy that car last year, and the guy sold it on me before I could get there. Unfortunately, I've actually tried to buy it even before then when it was in Northern Ontario about 12 years ago. And I'm aware of the car, and it is a true Dech car. This is one of those cars that somebody lost the plaques, they lost the documentation, so all that stuff is sort of missing. And the car used to have a supercharger on it. The supercharger was removed. It's a really clean car. I can attest to how clean the car is. It's just I've got so much going on in my stable that unless the price comes down to point that I can't refuse, then I'm going to let somebody else potentially get their hands on it. So that's the story about the 93 Dech. That JJ, there's your post. That's the one. So that's the one that you're talking about. And those are the reasons why I'm not going to pick it up at this time. And I got a couple other cars in the works. Again, reach out to me and then we can have a conversation about it.
Hey, let me just.
How many numbered Dech cars are out there?
I can't say.
You figured out, Garrett?
No, I can't. I'm so sorry. So Paul Bricklayer and Lloyd Green, I'm so sorry, guys. I was literally trying to star your comment. I don't even know what that means. I think it means like it. I'm a total idiot. I've screwed this up and I've blocked you guys. I hope you can still see me and hear this. I'm sorry. Good gracious. What a disaster.
You're going to have to, hopefully, Let's see what happens when you're going to have to stay on for at least 5 minutes until their timeout is over.
Okay. Well, let me get another beer then. I'll explain to my buddy, whatever. All right. You go on. Sorry,
Okay.
I don't mean to interrupt.
Oh, this is great. In terms of numbered Dutch cars, so this is a question that's asked quite frequently, and nobody knows the answer to it. And JJ, based on some of the stuff that he's been putting in the comments here, he might have a pretty good idea. I'm gonna assemble as much information before I throw some numbers out, because actually even Sean, the owner of the 87 GT that's in the background here, he thought there was only about 20 numbered cars or less that happened, which it's not that. It's not that low. There is a good number of numbered documented Dutch cars out there. There's a significant number of true Dutch after the fact cars. My Wild Strawberry car is one of those. Doesn't have a number, but everything, all the documentation is there. I've actually, for anybody who's been following me long enough, the shop in Canada, I have a white Dutch coupe with no motor or transmission in it. And that car has a folder just as big as the one that Gary showed on, this 87, with all the original Dutch receipts. Like that car had the rare PBR caliper brakes with floating rotors that were kind of machined off a Corvette, and a crazy design that Derek came up with. Which are now on the white coupe that's sitting over here in front of me that you guys can't see. But yeah, so that's one of those cars that is just a crazy car. There's another Dutch car out there that I was telling Gary about. It's a 93 that a local enthusiast back in Toronto owns. We call it the prototype car. It's a 93 red coupe. It has every single part that Dutch was designing and coming up with, from caster camber plates. It has the ASG rear Watts link setup in it, which was originally designed for the SN95 cars. It's got the Dutch roll bar in it. It's got a built 408 with a T56 with a Dutch anti-slosh fuel system, battery tray. And the funny thing is that car has everything that Dutch ever kind of produced and was trying to come up with, everything but the body kit. So the owner does have the kit. He's going to be putting it on the car. Anyways, long-winded answer to that, because, when people ask me Dutch questions, I kind of go off on tangents. But we do need to hit that 5-minute mark. I hope they're messaging you on Instagram being like, how dare you?
I'm texting with Josh and Tom right now. They said, so I think they've logged into Josh is saying this. He's logged into whether it's mine or your channel, and he says he can't see the other one's comments. So that's kind of interesting.
Oh, so this isn't.
It must be weird. Folks that comment on.
Oh, what I select to show isn't what you selected to show. So there's going to be a lot more comments that have come up probably in my stream versus your stream. Which, don't worry, guys. It's really just me highlighting some comments here and there.
Josh just texted me.
You get a 2 beer limit. I'm highlighting that.
Josh, he's like, you putting that guy in timeout, and he gives me a bunch of rolling on the floor.
Did you see that one?
I'm such a dickhead. I'm dealing with
this comment.
There needs to be 2 beers. Come on. Listen, I'm losing battery here. Listen, I'm way better in person than I am on screen.
Oh man. Martin, am I going to be holding on to the Celine? You know what? I've actually considered getting rid of the Celine car. It's a pretty overwhelming project, I'm not going to lie. Then after doing the podcast with Molly, I was sort of like, oh, maybe I should hold on to this one. I need to reevaluate. It might just kind of sit on the back burner for a little bit. I'm not going to lie. If somebody offered me a good dollar for it, I probably would let it go. I know I was talking about potentially doing a Celine Dutch hybrid car, which could still be a possibility. The problem is I kind of have this problem right now. I keep finding all these Dutch cars. I'm trying to hoard them.
I'm
not going to lie. So we'll see.
Hey, buddy. You know what? On that note, I had a fella I don't know. It's always so hard to tell with text, right? But had a comment on one of my videos. It was actually the purchase of this, and he said something to the effect of like, there's only one Celine, and you can't recreate it. And I'm like, well, I wanted to do my whole like, hey, I think intelligence has been chasing you for a long time, but somehow you've been quicker comment. But I'm like, look, I know it's hard to find information on Dech, but like you probably should try to understand, because I don't know. I've got my own thoughts on this and I don't really want to share them, but I think there was some piggybacking going on. I'll maybe just leave it at that. It was a time that no one really knows about. I think anyone that has heard the Dech story or somewhat of it is very, very curious. I know I am. And I think you'd be surprised. Maybe I'll just leave it there. Like there was a lot of things going on in the 90s, which naturally, like, Chris and I, we're always chatting. I mean, throw anybody else out there that's trying to do like cool stuff. Like you're interested in what other people are doing. And I think there was a lot of that going on at the time. I don't want to take any wind out of anyone's sails by saying any of this, but I just think that, yeah, Derek, I think, had a pretty special following. I maybe just kind of leave it at that. Like he was doing things that not a lot of other people were doing. And I don't say that because I'm Canadian. I truly feel that in my soul. He was doing things that other people were paying attention to. So.
No, absolutely. And I think who knows what would have happened if maybe the two could have collaborated some more. You know what I mean? There's probably just, because there's, again, as I said before, like Dech used a lot of Celine parts.
Okay, hold on, buddy. Lloyd's back in. Holy Christ, we made it through the 5K. He says he's unsubbing. Buddy, I'm so sorry. I hope the other fellow there too is back in. Jeepers creepers. What a disaster. I'm not okay, I'm just going to read the comments. I'm not going to star anything. Guys, I want to star them all, but I'm going to fast finger it if I... Holy Christ.
Oh, my God.
Okay, sorry, buddy. Go on.
Yeah, no, so, like I said, I'm thinking that if there was more room to collaborate or maybe innovate together, but who knows, maybe it was just different strategies going forward. So some people have different business ideas and business models going forward. And of course, Canada, it's a hard market. And again, guys, I'm going to reiterate this, guys. California, where, Celine was started, has more people than all of Canada put together. And Canada and the U.S. have the same land mass, pretty much, like from a geographical standpoint. In fact, I think Canada's bigger.
I think so. Less populated, but bigger.
Yeah. So you know what I mean? So when we're trying to do stuff in Canada, there's only.
Sorry, Paul. I'm so sorry. Christ.
Oh my God. So so by the way, Paul and Lloyd, so did it block you? Like you had to like log back into the live, or did it just block you from being able to text? That's what I'm curious to know. Just for future reference, if someone does need to be put on a timeout for real, not like just Gary's finger in his phone. Oh man.
Okay, no, he said no. So I guess he can still watch, just can't comment. Man, what a dickhead I am. Sorry, guys. Holy Christ.
How many beers? Where was I?
He can see. Give me a break. I've had a couple. But it's not the beers. Honestly, I don't even have that big of thumbs. Like, honestly, I'm dealing with a small screen.
It's the excitement. You got all the pressure. You know what I mean? All these people are watching you right now, and you just don't know what's going on. So,
I get talking Fox with them like a fat kid on a Smartie. Like, I just love it.
So when Canada tries to do something, we only have, what do we have, Gary? We got Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal. 3 major cities, which
Calgary. Throw Calgary and Edmonton in there, maybe.
Yeah, but that's like Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, all within a 3-hour radius of where I am in Texas is pretty much, you know what I mean? I got within 3 hours here, which a 3-hour plane or a flight wouldn't even get you to Vancouver to Toronto. You know what I mean? So it's much more challenging up there. So Derek was kind of going against the grain. The internet didn't exist initially, right? So you only got snail mail, which, Gary, some of that documentation was literally mailed like checks or receipts from the bank
Canada
that
Post
was sent for payments to Dech to get the parts for the car. So I'm sure some of you guys remember that, like on StangNet and the Corral, you go and get like money orders and stick them. Hell, some people put cash in envelopes. There's only way to pay. You know what I mean? So,
fucking Josh.
oh man, you're getting a lot of smack.
I know,
love
this goddamn guy.
I just keep looking at your face while I'm talking, and you're just like, oh.
I'm reading the comments.
We're talking shit about me.
Get off the Stellas, drink Coronas. I can't afford either of them, but somebody dropped them off, so here I am drinking the damn things.
Oh my god, this is awesome.
Oh my god, I can't wait for Foxtoberfest where I can take all this garbage on personally. These guys in their tax.
We're just gonna put you in a dunk tank, like anybody that Gary offended. You know what? Dunk them.
I'll wear a banana hammock. If there's a dunk tank, I'll put on a banana hammock. A budgie smuggler.
Oh. So I do have to say one thing, Daniel Higgins. You say you are the owner of my '87 Cali Coupe. I wonder if you're the original owner, because if you're the original owner, yes, you should get it out of the garage. But I love the fact a West Coast car with centerline wheels. I'm telling you, it's the West Coast thing. And you know what? I think Borbets were on the East Coast because they're closer to Europe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll throw it out there.
It is a thing. I know there's something in the water. Like, just teach their own. I've never really been much of a centerline guy. If I had to pick one, I would pick these, or the 5-star style. The Scorpion ones never really did much for me or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I have a set of those too, guys. I have the Scorpions. They are 16s as well. Those came on the T-top car that I bought. Funny enough, Gary, here's something you might not have known. That T-top is a Vancouver car.
Really?
I found it was Formula One wristbands from Vancouver back in the day or something in the glove box.
No kidding.
I want to say it was F1. You guys had F1 out there, right?
It was a late entry to the mix, but yeah, they did bring it out here. I think it's kind of come and gone a couple times, but yeah, they do it.
Yeah, so there was a couple that I found in the glove box. So funny enough, that car all the way from Vancouver with its centerline wheels made its way all the way to Ontario.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I know the centerline thing, it's a love-hate deal, right? Like, some love them, some hate them, and I think they've got a neat like essence to them. They kind of look like that CNC style of wheel, right? So I get it, I guess, but I know it's personal preference. You know what I mean? Like, some people like a certain ball cap, and that's just the way they roll, right?
16-inch guys on the center lines.
Yeah,
Hammers or Scorpions are both 16s, and they're both sets are narrow. You know, you're talking 7.5, probably 225
maybe
rubber, like
225, 50, 16, and brand new rubber. They're a BF, whatever they are, ZR, whatever.
BFG something. Yeah.
Big, yeah.
Jigaboo rims. Oh man.
Okay.
Well, awesome.
So what are we doing here?
Well,
These
Gary,
folks have been too kind with us, right? I mean, we've
2
hours of their life.
Yeah, no, and thanks again. I know, we had to let the band boys back in that you blocked out. So I'm glad.
Boys, I'm so sorry.
If we have some dislikes, whoever, I'm not sure who's watching whose stream right now, but I sincerely hope that they're in your stream, Gary, and they gave you thumbs down for that.
I know. There was some unsubscribing going on. You know what? I'm sorry. I'll wear it all day. I'll take the black eye. It is what it is. But no, thanks, guys. Like, from the bottom of my heart, honest to God, I can't tell you how much both of us appreciate you guys tagging along and tuning in. And like, we're just a couple of small town dickheads. Like, I'll be honest with you, like, we're just having fun. We love these cars to death. We love all you guys. The fact that you chime in with it all and everything else. And you're the
Isn't
one
it
that
funny when you're trying to talk and you see the other person's facial expression?
I'm getting all sappy here, like, holy Christ.
So
But no,
Jerry, when Gary's down here, we'll either go out to your place or you can come here, one of the two. And
is Jerry in Texas?
Yeah, he is.
All right, Jerry, we're doing beers. I'll bring Canadian beers. We're not drinking none of that bloody Miller Lite either. Gary did vote for being. And Lloyd, remove that comment right now. That is so untrue. It's not even funny.
Oh man.
No,
too much. Well, lots are good. I enjoyed this. I've tried a couple. My internet's been a little unstable out here at the shop, so I'm glad that this has actually worked out quite well. So we're gonna have to do this again.
Fort Worth. Oh, we got another texting in here. 89 GT50. Yeah, no, thanks, guys. Like, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, we really appreciate this. And we're going to have tons and tons and tons of info on this. Like, not so much. I mean, the car is going to kind of sleep here for the next little bit. I'm going to keep it undercover while we're doing all this greasy, Bondo, dusty garbage. And then, come October, this thing's getting a fresh tank of premium put in it, Canadian premium. So the extra strong stuff. And we're pointing her south. I'm picking Chris somewhere along the way. I got a drone that I'm still trying to learn how to drive the damn thing. And we're going to pick our, I said this earlier, but we're going to pick our route. We'll let everybody know. So if you want to come in, by and say hi or whatever the case may be, we'll let you know where we're going to be roughly. And the plan is, as much as we want to see the sights, we definitely want to get to the end destination, but whatever. We'll take some time out and pull in, and if there's a car show along the way we can hit, that's awesome. But and stay tuned, because now as we learn this kind of StreamYard thing, Paul, who's been instrumental in all this, him and Sally, they do these lives and they do it through StreamYard. He's helped me through this thing. That's how I think we'll do it. We're going to do it right from the cab of the damn car. So we'll be live streaming and loading this stuff up on YouTube, probably throw a couple of Instagram lives in there, right? Let you know where we're at and what we're doing. And hopefully the TFI module and the water pump and the heater core and everything stays glued together. If it doesn't, we hope to Christ that all you guys are going to come out and rescue us, because we'll be somewhere between the Great White North and Charlotte. And but we're going to have a good time with it, and we hope you guys enjoy it. I don't know. I think it's probably the most real and raw thing. I don't know what everyone else is doing for Foxtoberfest. I haven't heard a whole bunch. I know there's people coming from all over the world, which is a really good sign. I think they're probably going to crack 1,000 cars this year. So that's unreal. I'm making my way. So whatever. Should be a good time.
It will be a good time. The Miller Lite 3000. Or actually,
go.
the Vominos 3000.
Oh, Vominos.
I'm a big advocate for this one right now. So the Vominos 3000.
The only thing I know Vominos from is my kids used to watch Dora the Explorer, and it was always like, Vominos! And they'd go and do whatever the next thing was, right? But
right.
I think I understand the context of it, so.
Oh, well, awesome, guys. Well, thank you all again. We'll sign off here. And, it's funny, man. It's like the live stream. It's like people drop off, more people are coming in. Be sure to check out, it'll be posted both our channels. Yep. And if you really, maybe, I think I said it at the beginning, but if you watch this far, you could have listened to it on the podcast next week as well. But
we'll load her
a little after the fact. But anyways, thanks again, guys. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys. Take care.